Right, man in boxing, led the Flair Cops. Shout out to Goodfellas Sports TV.
Don't forget to check out our sponsor, The Health Blaze, at thehealthblaze.com. 100% all natural products from lotions, soaps, foot soaks, bath bombs, and much, much more. Use the promo code Goodfella1Boxing. Tell them your boy CJ Goodfella sent you. Get 18% off. We out. All right, man, let's talk about Erickson Lubin, how we do in the rematch versus Jermell Charlo. Also, is Jaron Ennis ready for a world champion right now? I seen, former heavyweight and cruiserweight Fast Eddie Chambers said on Twitter. So try to follow as many boxers as I can. They got a lot of good game. You know, he be on Coach Anthony channel. I be checking them out every now and again. And I like how the Philly boxers stick together. You know what I'm saying? I love that, man. Even the Pennsylvania fighters, you know, I seen Steve Cunningham. He was talking to somebody. I can't remember exactly who it was. He was on somebody's show. And even the whole Pennsylvania, family of boxers, they stick together. So you got to appreciate that, man. And you love the brotherly love, because it ain't no brotherly love when it comes for the Eagles and Santa Claus in Philadelphia. But let's get to it. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. We can start off with Lubin. I don't think Lubin got the chin to fight Jermell Charlo, and I don't think he got the defense. Was his chin always, weak? We never looked at it that way. But, only he knows. He been in the gym with probably world champions, good journeymen, good sparring partners, and I can't imagine him going all these years and not being put on the canvas and knocked out and sparred. Or maybe the shot with Jermell Charlo just made his chin that weak, because yesterday Goucher isn't the guy that should be hurting you. I got G.I. Joe, Hasbro, they show G.I. Joe every morning. So when I'm down here doing videos, and between videos and editing and doing other stuff, I'll be watching G.I. Joe. It's a good cartoon. But, I could pull up Terrell Goucher's, and I got to get myself together. I'll be glad when I'm done with it. But let's talk about what Terrell Goucher punching like. Let's see what his knockout ratio is. 41%. So he got 24 fights with 10 knockouts. Okay. Well, let's see the last time he had a knockout. He had a knockout versus Joey Hernandez at the Barclays Center in 2018. Before that, 2015 versus Norberto Gonzalez. So he ain't knocking out a who's list of people. So should Goucher be the type of opponent that's hurting Erickson Lubin? And you know what? Lubin is fighting very, very safety first. I'm not going to say scary. I just think he being safety first. It took him about 7-8 rounds last night to kind of take a chance. And when he took a chance, I think Goucher hit him with a left hook or whatever it was. And he got hurt. You know what I'm saying? And he don't have, he controlled distance. He able to keep you at the end of his shots. But the thing about it is he doesn't have great defense. I'm not saying he don't have great defense. He's not gonna get down and and be slick. Kevin Cunningham had Corey Spinks. Corey Spinks was slick. That's how he was able to move up and really beat Jermaine Taylor. I'm always gonna hold on to that. If I ever run into him, I'm always gonna tell him, like, you won that fight. That's one of the fights that made me angry. You know what I'm saying? He won that fight. And I didn't like Jermaine Taylor for beating Bernard Hopkins anyway. But he won that fight. If I run into Kevin Cunningham, I'll tell him too. Y'all won that fight. But Lubin ain't that type of fighter. He kind of slick, but he not like elusive slick where he gonna be catching and shooting and slipping. He good. He's sitting in southpaw position and he kind of he not a stiff, but I just don't think his defense is good enough. I don't think his fast twitch muscles is good enough. I don't think he big enough. I don't think he don't really stand out. He seemed like he can make 147 like Keith Thurman. We're going to talk about him later. Sean Porter and Errol Spence. It seemed like he should be at 147. He just don't seem big enough and strong enough. And then again, he is only 24 years old, so he really ain't really got his man strength and his bones ain't really started to get dense. Which frame is going to get stronger. And if that happens, he might have to move up to 160. So when you're a smaller guy in the division, you really got to beat dudes with skills, which he got, and you got to beat dudes with speed. He got good power, but the guys that he fighting with, a lot of these dudes could be campaigning at 160 and eventually 168. Everybody big in this division. You got 265 fighters in this division. Did you know that? Sebastian Fondora, then the Darrell's nephew, Leon Lawson III, which trains with Kevin Cunningham. So you got 265, junior middleweights. Then you got Tony Harrison, who was pretty tall and long. He wanted to fight Harrison last night. And the way he fought last night versus Goucher, and every fighter is different. If Harrison was able to get knocked out versus Charlo, and was able to get over the hump with his father dying, Tony Harrison would have probably knocked out Erickson Lubin last night. And that's a lot of ifs. And if it was a fifth, we all be drunk. Jared Hurd, if Jared Hurd fought the style that he fought before, he probably walks down and probably knocks out Lubin if Lubin don't knock him out first. I mean, who else we got in this division before we get to Jermell? Teixeira, he can crack a little bit. That'd have been an interesting fight. Castanos, he bring a lot to him, and he wouldn't be able to fight the fight he did versus Castanos for 12 rounds. Castanos, I don't know how much power he carry in them hands, but Castanos would have made Lubin fight. Either he would have, made it a war and tried to knock out Lubin, or Lubin would have knocked him out. So, and Lara, it just would have been a tactical fight. I just think, him and Lara, it would have been just as boring as Goucher. But those are most of the heavy hitters we got there. And, Austin Charlie's another dude that might give him a little bit of issues, with him not having a southpaw advantage. So, like I said, him and Jermell, I don't see it going no different. I've been doing some film work on the Charlo brothers, and I'm ready to drop that prediction video. And I'm thinking about starting a membership only on YouTube, man. So I really want to kind of give good content on my membership only. So I was kind of thinking about I might just make all my prediction breakdowns membership only, for like a week or two, and then I have some other content as well too there. And then the week of the fight, I'll drop them on YouTube. But I don't really think right now is a good time for him to fight Jermell Charlo. And one thing I was noticing, and I noticed this the other day, okay, and I'm gonna tell you what I noticed. Before last night for Erickson Lubin, for a guy that just got knocked the fuck out by Charlo, which it happens in boxing. I remember Nate Campbell was telling me on Lion Killer Channel that he told Mike Jones that, he was saying, I ain't never been knocked down and knocked out. And he said, you be around long enough, it's going to happen. And he got knocked out by Randall Bailey. And he right. All right, so 2017, he got knocked out by Charlo on October 14th. So since then, he's only had, before last night, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only had 4 fights since being knocked out 3 years ago. 5, including last night. So, and you look at the opponents that he fought. Silverio Ortiz, Ishe Smith, and the Zaria Adago guy, whatever his name was, the Greece guy. And then he fought Nathaniel Gallimore. Okay? And my whole thing is, in Goucher now. So he fought 5 times since losing in 2017. Do you understand? At one point, Triple G was fighting 4 times a year. You understand that Floyd Mayweather fought 12 times or 1 year at one point? Do people really understand, that this dude is not active enough? This dude has fought no competition that can get him ready for Charlo. So ain't nothing changed. His activity level is shit. His level of opponents is, it really don't make me say, who did he beat that made me say, oh, he could beat Charlo? Nobody. And getting hit by Terrell Goucher and getting buzzed last night, he can't avoid Charlo. I mean, you can avoid Charlo for 12 rounds. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be able to have good defense, or you got to be able to back Charlo up, and you got to be able to counter and still have good defense, which I don't really think he has the defense to do that. Eventually, Charlo going to touch him on the chin. And the question is, can he take it? If he couldn't took Terrell Goucher's shot last night, I just don't see it happening. Maybe, it was just a temple shot and he just hit him in the right spot. But maybe it was just a shot. And then he walked into the Charlo uppercut. But right now, I just don't see him having an activity level. And I just don't see him having opponents right now. I'm like, well, CJ, who should he fight before he fought him? I mean, I like the Lara fight for him, but it's boring. They had to put that in. It's just a boring fight. I mean, J-Rock, maybe it'd be a solid fight. Tony Harrison, if he get a win on his belt, it'd be a solid fight. But eventually, looking at this division, man, I just don't see the outtake looking good. He'd be fortunate if he got a belt in this division. Especially if Jermell don't move up, because then Jermell ain't moving up. I mean, at this point, the longer they wait, Fondora is gonna be, the guy in the division. And the way he fought, Nathaniel Gallimore, and Gallimore bringing just as much heat in his hands as Lubin. Lubin just got more skills. I think really Fondora, and then down the line, Leon Lawson III is gonna be the wave of this division. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what Jade Hurd is gonna be like. Erislandy Lara got to be on his way out. No, J-Rock is on his way out. Jermell can unify and probably move up if his brother move up. Castanos and Teixeira gonna be there. Then you got Tim Tszyu. I mean, so once this division turn over, probably Lubin can get a title. But right now, I don't really see no title holder that he can fade right now. And some of these young guys, it's gonna catch up with him as well. So that's just my opinion on it. But talk about Jaron Ennis. Right now, I don't think he can beat Charlo. I don't think they got the right opponents, the activity level. I see improvements, but not enough improvement. But I could be wrong. I like Lubin. I could be wrong. But he might have to wait till some of these welterweights, and I mean W-A-I-T, weight. You know what I'm saying? Have to come up. All right. And, and when they come up, maybe you can score some wins over those guys. But, Jaron Ennis, is he ready for a champion like Eddie Chambers said? I mean, he obviously got signed to a promoter and manager. I think the best deal for him is to sign with Al. If Al allowed Cameron Duncan to still, promote him. Cameron Duncan promotes Jaron Ennis, if my memory serves me correctly. And Cameron Duncan used to be the manager over there for most top-ranked fighters. But I guess he moved on to start his own promotional company. There was some issues with Bob and Cameron Duncan and Jaron Ennis. I'm pretty sure they figured those things out. But, yesterday versus Braille, he fought a guy that got fresh out of jail, just got his ankle monitor off of him. I'm not sure. I don't think he's ready for a title fight. You know what I'm saying? It's time for him to obviously pick a promoter and get some of those fights. But the problem is here, if he was to go the PBC route, who they giving him? You're going to come in with Josito Lopez. That's a good step-up fight. But Al allows Sean, Keith, Danny, he about to move up. And Earl do what they want to do. And they not going to fight a guy that's high risk and low reward. It's what you got to understand. That's the truth. They not going to fight a guy, once again, that's high risk and low reward. And that's what Ennis is. Ennis got, really good skills. He get hit and don't get hit. But once again, we got to see if he can take a shot. And one of the knocks on him in the amateurs, losing to Gary Anton Russell a few times, was he can't take pressure. So, people thinking like, oh, if Ortiz can bring pressure and he can break them, Sean Porter would be a bad style for him. But Gary Anton Russell, he's a special fighter. Just that Al Heyman don't promote him. Whatever the beef between Heyman and the Russells are, only God knows and they know. But, that's one of the knocks on him. He can't handle that pressure. You go back and watch that, that fight to get Gary Anton Russell into the Olympics, if you pressure, Ennis, he can't take it. Everything looked good when the sun's shining on him. You know what I'm saying? But what happened when it started to rain and it started to get dark and it started to snow? When you started to take him into that dark room, that's what you got to ask yourself. At the end of the day, he dominates in the gym. He dominates his level of opposition. But now it's started to go into the level where you get into Josito Lopez, Andre Berto, Adrian Broner, if he's, want to hang around in the 47 level, we'll talk about him later as well, too. And then you try to think about guys, like Sean and, Ortiz, and you thinking about Danny, you thinking about Kavalaskis, Bruce Putin, if you come back from his drug test, Ugas, you start to think about guys like that. Maybe Amir Khan if you campaigning at 147. You starting to think about, now it's time to step up versus those guys. Is he world championship material right now? I don't think so. I just got to see him go through the proper progressions. And, some people say that Crawford is his best matchup because Crawford ain't got a chin, this, that, and the third. But one thing we know about Crawford is Crawford will walk you down. Crawford got styles. And most slick fighters are able to speak slick language. You know what I'm saying? So, Crawford, will walk that kid down. You know what I'm saying? If need be. That's the difference. The difference is he looked good boxing versus the level of opposition. But we seen it before. Adrian Broner looked good boxing the level of opposition he did. When he stepped up in competition, he stepped up in weight. it was a little different. So, of course, they're going to say the kid ready, of course, but we all know that there are levels to this. Has he been cracked yet? We haven't seen him get cracked by a good fighter. We haven't seen this kid get challenged except for his last fight when that guy was bringing a little bit of pressure. Then you started to see a little bit of flaws come from him. He can't handle pressure, and that was the knock on him coming out the Olympics. So, we just got to see him step up in competition, but it's going to be hard. You signed a PBC. They protecting their top welterweights. You probably going to be looking at your Lipinets. He signed the top rank, then you limit yourself to Al Heyman got all the welterweights. Then you're going to have to wait to see if, Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, and, other fighters will come up and fight you. So it's hard to tell, but I would side on caution. Just take his time, but it's hard for him. He's 23 years old to pick a path right now because, if you go to PBC route, it's no guarantee that you're going to get, a title shot or a top fighter. They protecting all their top fighters, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. I'm impressed by Ennis, but he got to show me versus a top fighter that is real, and I'm pretty sure believe it is real, but we'll see. But the good thing for him, all the top fighters in this division is old, and changeover is going to be him, Josh Taylor, Ramirez, Regis Progress, Mario Barrios, and a few other young guys in there. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you got a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Keep sharing the videos. Want to make a donation? Cash App, PayPal, Cash App, $, CJ Good 313. That's in the description. PayPal link there as well too. Appreciate the love, support. Keep sharing the videos. One time for the one time we go.